It was 3:17 a.m. when the earth roared, ripping our quiet neighborhood apart. The earthquake didn't care about the tidy lawns or the HOA's strict rule set turned homes to rubble and lives to chaos. I woke to my daughter, Lily, screaming from her room down the hall. My heart pounded as I stumbled through the dark, dodging fallen shelves and shattered glass. "Lily, I'm coming," I yelled, my voice barely cutting through the groan of our swaying walls. At 16, Lily's cerebral palsy meant she couldn't escape her bed alone. When I reached her, her terrified face glowed faintly in the flicker of her battery-powered nightlight. She was tangled in her sheets, trembling, reaching for me. "Dad, please," she whispered. I scooped her up, her slight frame shaking in my arms, and ran as the ceiling started to cave in. Outside, the world was a nightmare. Neighbors spilled from their homes, some barefoot, others clutching whatever they'd grabbed in panic. Aftershocks rumbled under our feet. I set Lily on a patch of grass, far from trees or power lines, wrapping her in a blanket I'd snagged on the way out. By dawn, our street looked like a war zone. Houses collapsed, fires burning from broken gas lines. Our own home was half gone. Lily's bedroom was buried under the roof. We made it out by seconds. The Red Cross set up a shelter in the community center, the only building still standing strong. By noon, we were there with dozens of other families, grateful for cots, blankets, and hot soup. Lily's custom wheelchair was crushed in the wreckage, so I carried her or used a borrowed one that didn't fit her needs. "I'm sorry I'm such a hassle," she murmured as I adjusted her in the stiff chair. "Don't you ever say that," I told her, my voice fierce. "You're tougher than anyone I know." Lily's body might have been limited, but her mind was sharp, her art a blaze of color and feeling. She'd been prepping for an online gallery, her digital paintings created on a setup I'd rigged, so she could draw with tiny hand movements. 3 days later, FEMA showed up to assess the damage, and the HOA called an emergency meeting to talk recovery. As the group's treasurer, I had to be there, so I wheeled Lily to the back of the community center, where she could sketch in her notebook one of the few things we'd salvaged. Margaret Caldwell, the HOA president, strode in like she owned the place. In her 50s, with blonde hair, somehow still perfect despite the disaster, she'd always run our meetings like a dictator. Her hilltop house had barely a scratch, unlike the rest of us. "Order, please," she barked, tapping a pen on a water bottle. For an hour, she droned on about her VY Shown for recovery, new landscaping, fresh paint, keeping the neighborhood presentable. When old Mr. Thompson asked about helping the neediest families first, she waved him off. "Property values come first," she snapped. "Selective repairs would be unfair to those who pay top dues." My blood boiled. Even now, Margaret cared more about curb appeal than people. The meeting broke into small groups, neighbors swapping ideas for generators and supplies. I was talking to Mrs. Lee about sharing power when a sharp voice cut through the hum. "What do you think you're doing?" Margaret loomed over Lily, who looked up from her sketchbook, startled. "I'm just drawing," Lily said softly. Margaret's face twisted as she snatched the notebook. "This area is for HOA business, not doodling." She glanced at Lily's sketch, a VY Brandt scene of neighbors clearing debris together, and scoffed. "This is hardly appropriate for our community's image." I hurried over. "Margaret, give it back. She's not hurting anyone." But Margaret ignored me, turning to the crowd. "This is the problem with some people here," she said, her voice dripping venom. "No respect for rules, for standards, for decency." She gestured at Lily. "And frankly, flaunting disabilities in public makes our neighborhood look distressed." The room went dead quiet. Even Margaret's usual allies looked shocked. "Are you kidding me?" I said, my voice low, dangerous. "We've lost everything, and you're worried about how my daughter's disability looks?" Margaret's eyes narrowed. "Standards don't bend for crises, Mr. Carter. Some people just don't fit in a premium community." Lily's eyes glistened with tears, her shoulders hunching in the wheelchair. I reached for the sketchbook, but Margaret yanked it back. "This is confiscated until the meeting's over," she declared, turning away. Something in me broke. After days of fear and loss, this was too much. "Give back. Now," I growled, stepping closer. Margaret backed toward a corner where construction debris jagged concrete slabs from a damaged wall was piled for repairs. "You're hysterical," she said coldly. "This kind of emotional." She didn't finish. Lily had wheeled herself forward, her voice steady despite her tears. "Please, Mrs. Caldwell. That drawing's from Mr. Lopez's memorial. He died SAVYing kids from the school." Margaret froze, then looked at the sketchbook. For a moment, I thought she'd soften, but her face darkened. "Well," she said, her voice cruel, "I suppose it takes someone broken to obsess over destruction." She tore the drawing out and crumpled it. Mrs. Lee gasped. "How dare you?" she shouted, stepping forward. "That girl's got more heart than you'll ever have." Margaret's face flushed, her pride stung. Then, in a move that still haunts me, she bent down, grabbed a 20-pound concrete slab from the pile, and hurled it at Lily. "Maybe this'll give you something real to draw, you ugly little cripple," she screamed. Time slowed. I lunged, but I was too far. The slab slammed into Lily's chest and shoulder, knocking her wheelchair back. Her scream mixed with the sickening crack of bone. I reached her as she slumped, blood seeping through her shirt where the concrete's rough edge had gashed her. The room exploded. Nurses rushed to Lily. Neighbors tackled Margaret, who ranted about standards even as they pinned her. Mrs. Lee was already calling 911. "Stay with me, sweetheart," I begged, holding Lily's hand as her eyes fluttered. "It hurts, Dad," she whispered, tears streaking her face. "Help's coming," I promised, choking back my own tears. The next hours were a blur: sirens, hospital lights, police statements. Lily had a broken collarbone, a fractured shoulder, and a gash needing 27 stitches. If the slab had hit 2 inches higher, it could have killed her. Margaret was arrested, charged with assault and a hate crime for targeting Lily's disability. Cell phone videos of the attack left no doubt. While Lily had surgery, our community changed. Strangers brought clothes, food, even offered us a place to stay. An online fundraiser for Lily's medical bills, and our housing hit its goal in hours as the video went viral. 3 days later, neighborhood kids showed up at the hospital with Lily's salvaged art computer, fixed and ready. Mrs. Lee had rallied parents to rent us an accessible apartment. "That woman isn't our neighborhood," she said. "Lily is." The HOA was suspended after evidence surfaced of Margaret's years-long discrimination against disabled, elderly, and minority residents. 2 weeks later, when Lily left the hospital, neighbors greeted us at our new apartment with an art display of her work, including a recreated memorial drawing. A sign read, "Beauty is strength, kindness, resilience, not perfection." Lily Carter is our community's heart. Margaret's trial, 6 months later, was quick. The videos were undeniable, and her courtroom rants about community standards only dug her deeper. She got 7 years for assault and civil rights violations. The concrete slab, once evidence, was transformed by a local artist, with Lily's blessing, into a mosaic at the rebuilt community center. Its sharp edges smoothed, it bore the words, "From brokenness, we build strength together." A year later, we're in a rebuilt home, adapted for Lily, partly funded by donations. Her art's gone national, featured in a disability advocacy campaign. She wears her collarbone scar proudly. "It's my story," she told a reporter, "but not the main part. The main part's what came after, how people chose kindness." I'm now president of our new community association, replacing the HOA. Our first move was a disaster fund for vulnerable residents. Our second, commissioning Lily to design our logo, hands lifting each other up. That slab was meant to crush Lily's spirit. Instead, it became the base for her voice, her art, her strength. Hatred exists, even in crisis, but Lily showed us something stronger. What we build from the pieces defines us. What do you think? Can a community ever truly heal from something like this? Should Margaret have faced harsher punishment? Or is redemption possible even for someone like her? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this story hit you hard, and subscribe for more real-life stories that'll make you think. Where are you watching from? Let's get this conversation going.